The alarm screamed through the halls of Apex Prime Station and Taman ran. His boots hit the metal floor hard as he raced toward the council chambers. 3 months. It had been 3 months since Earth went silent, and now they were calling an emergency meeting. His heart pounded in his chest. Something was wrong. Something was very wrong. The massive doors slid open and Taman stepped into the circular chamber. 17 species sat in their designated seats, arranged in a perfect circle around the center platform. The air felt heavy. No one spoke. Every eye turned to watch him enter. "Commander Taman," Counselor Vextar said. The reptilian leader's voice echoed in the silent room. "We have received a transmission." "From Earth," Taman's breath caught. "Earth? When?" "What did they say?" Vextar's scaled hand moved across the control panel. The center of the room lit up with a holographic display. Static filled the air, then cleared. A voice came through, human, male, calm. "This is Earth's final transmission to the Galactic Council. We are going dark. Do not attempt to contact us. Do not send rescue missions. Now you will get to know the other side of humanity." The message ended. Silence returned to the chamber. Taman stared at the empty hologram space. His hands shook. "That's it? That's all they said?" "That is all," Vextar confirmed. The transmission was sent on all frequencies simultaneously. Then every communication channel from Earth, Mars, and all human colonies ceased functioning. Complete silence. "My family is on Earth," Taman said quietly. "My parents, my sister Minji, millions of people. They wouldn't just go silent. Something happened to them." One of the insectoid council members clicked its mandibles. Perhaps they were destroyed. Perhaps a plague swept through their worlds. Perhaps they chose isolation. No. Taman shook his head firmly. "Humans don't just disappear. We talk, we communicate. It's what we do. We're diplomats, traders, artists. We connect with people." Vextar leaned forward. "That is precisely what troubles us, Commander. Humanity has been part of our council for 200 years. In that time, you have been peaceful. Gentle, even. You mediate our disputes. You create beautiful art, you trade fairly. You have no significant military presence. So why this message? What is the other side of humanity?" Taman had no answer. He had lived his entire life believing humans had left their violent past behind. The old wars were ancient history. Stories told to remind people of what they had escaped. Earth had joined the galaxy as partners, as friends. They had nothing to hide. "We must investigate," Taman said. "We need to send ships to Earth, find out what happened." "Several species have already sent scouts," another council member said. "None have returned." A cold fear settled in Taman's stomach. "None?" "None," Vextar confirmed. 7 ships. Different species. All lost near Earth's solar system. The chamber doors opened again. A young woman walked in, her face pale but determined. Taman recognized her immediately. "Jiwan," he said. "What are you doing here?" "My father was Earth's ambassador," Jiwan said, her voice steady despite the fear in her eyes. "He was on Earth when the silence began. I have every right to be here." Vextar gestured for her to approach. "Ambassador Jiwan, your father was a good friend to this council. We mourn his potential loss." "He's not lost," Jiwan said firmly. "Earth is not lost. Something is happening and we need to find out what. I volunteer to join any rescue mission." "As do I," Taman added immediately. Vexitar looked between them. His reptilian eyes showed something that might have been pity. "Very well. We will assemble a fleet. A large one. 50 ships from different species. If something hostile destroyed Earth, we will be ready." Over the next week, the fleet gathered at Apex Prime. Taman spent his time reviewing every piece of information about Earth from the past year. Nothing seemed unusual. Trade continued normally. Cultural exchanges happened on schedule. Human colonies reported no problems. Then, suddenly, silence. Jiwan worked beside him, searching through her father's old messages and reports. "Look at this," she said one evening, pointing to a screen. 3 months before the silence, my father mentioned something strange. He said Earth was conducting a census, a full planetary census. Every human had to register their location. "That's not unusual," Taman said. "Governments do that." But he said it was odd because they did one just 5 years ago. And this one was mandatory. Everyone had to comply. No exceptions, Taman frowned. "Did he say why?" "No, he just noted it as unusual." Jiwan scrolled through more messages. And here, 2 months before the silence, Earth recalled all military personnel from off-world assignments. Every single one. They said it was for training exercises. Earth barely has a military, Taman said. Maybe a few thousand soldiers. Mostly for ceremonial purposes and disaster relief. Exactly, G1 said. So why recall all of them? Before Taman could answer, the station's alarms blared again. An announcement echoed through the halls. All personnel report to observation decks. Unidentified vessels approaching. Taman and G1 raced to the nearest viewport. Outside, against the backdrop of stars, shapes moved. Large shapes, ships, massive ships. What are those? G1 whispered. The ships were dark, angular, and covered in armor plating. They moved with purpose in perfect formation. Dozens of them. No, hundreds. They emerged from the direction of Earth's solar system like a swarm of metal predators. Vextar's voice came over the communication system. All ships, stand ready. Defensive positions. Unknown fleet approaching Apex Prime. Taman watched the ships pass. They didn't slow down. They didn't stop. They simply moved past the station, heading deeper into Council territory. And on the side of each ship, painted in white, was a symbol. A circle with continents inside. Earth symbol. Those are human ships, Taman said. But I've never seen designs like that. Where did they come from? The fleet passed completely, disappearing into the darkness of space. Then a transmission came through. Same voice as before. Calm, human, male. Council fleet preparing for Earth investigation. Turn back. Your rescue mission is unnecessary. Earth is not in danger. Earth is preparing. The threat comes from beyond. We will handle it. Stay in Council space. Protect the civilians. We will contact you when it is time. The transmission ended. Taman looked at G1. She looked back at him. Neither spoke for a long moment. Finally, G1 said, What have we become? Taman had no answer. But he knew one thing with certainty. The humanity the galaxy knew, the gentle humans who painted and sang and mediated peace, was not the complete picture. Somewhere, hidden from the galaxy and maybe even from most humans themselves, another side existed. A side that built warships. A side that prepared for threats. A side that knew how to fight, and now that other side was awake. The rescue fleet launched the next day. 50 ships fully armed heading toward Earth. Taman and G1 were aboard the flagship. Whatever they found there would change everything. The Council's trust, the galaxy's peace, the understanding of what humanity truly was. As the fleet jumped to faster-than-light speed, Taman looked out at the stars and remembered his father's words from when he was a child. Son, peace is a choice we make every day. But choosing peace doesn't mean forgetting how to protect it. He had never understood what his father meant. Now he was about to find out. The fleet dropped out of faster-than-light travel at the edge of Earth's solar system. 50 ships, 17 different species, all of them staring at their screens in confusion. Mars was empty. Captain Hyun stood on the bridge of the flagship, his hands gripping the railing. Run the scans again, he ordered. Scans confirm, Captain, the sensor officer reported. Mars colony shows no life signs. Buildings intact, power systems running. But no people. 3 million colonists. Gone. Taman moved beside Hyun. Not destroyed. Evacuated. But why? Hyun asked. And where did they go? The fleet moved slowly through the system. Jupiter's moons also empty. Saturn's stations abandoned. Every human settlement showed the same pattern. Everything in place. Food still in storage. Lights still on. But no people. It's like everyone just walked away, Ji-Wan said, studying the data. Fleet Commander Kilnoth, the insectoid leader, clicked its mandibles nervously. This is wrong. Species do not evacuate entire systems without reason. Where would they even go? Earth, Taman said. They all went back to Earth. That's impossible, Kilnoth said. Earth cannot hold that many people. The colonies have 5 billion humans. Earth has 12 billion. You cannot fit 17 billion people on one planet. Then where are they? Ji-Wan asked. The fleet approached Mars. Hyun ordered landing parties to investigate the surface. Taman joined the team heading down to the main colony. The shuttle touched down in the central plaza. The doors opened. Silence greeted them. Taman walked through the empty streets. Shops stood open. Tables and cafes still had cups on them, half filled with cold coffee. A child's toy lay on the ground. Everything looked normal except for the absence of people. "Look at this," one of the soldiers called. He pointed to a wall screen. It showed a message in simple text. "Evacuation Protocol 7 initiated. Report to designated transport zones. Bring essential items only. Stay calm. Stay together." "Protocol 7, Hyun said. "What is Protocol 7? No one knew. They searched the entire colony, every building, every street. They found no bodies, no signs of violence, no indication of what emergency would require such a massive evacuation. Just empty homes and that one message, repeated on every screen. Jiwon's team was exploring the government buildings when she found something. "Taemin, Hyun, you need to see this." They met her in the basement of the Colonial Administration Center. She stood in front of a door. A heavy door. Military-grade security. "This wasn't on any of the colony maps," she said. "I found it by accident when a wall panel glitched." Hyun examined the door. "This is serious security. Military encryption. Why would a civilian colony need this?" "Only one way to find out," Taemin said. It took their technical team 3 hours to bypass the locks. When the door finally opened, cold air rushed out. Lights flickered on automatically, revealing a corridor leading down. Deep down, they descended for 10 minutes. The corridor ended at another door. This one opened easily. Beyond it lay something none of them expected. A command center. Huge, modern, military equipment everywhere. Screens covered the walls, showing star charts, fleet positions, weapon specifications. In the center of the room stood a holographic display table, dormant now but clearly designed for tactical planning. "What is this?" Kilnoth demanded. "Mars is a civilian colony. Why does it have a military command center hidden underground?" Hyun moved to one of the computer terminals. "These systems are still active." He accessed the files. His face went pale as he read. "What does it say?" Taemin asked. "These are military records," Hyun said quietly. "Training schedules, weapon production reports, ship construction updates." This wasn't just a command center. Mars was a military base disguised as a colony. "That's impossible," Jiwon said. "My father would have known. The council would have known." "Your father might not have known," Hyun said. "Look at these access levels. Only specific people could enter these facilities. Everyone else lived normal civilian lives above ground, completely unaware of what was beneath their feet." Taemin felt sick. "How long? How long has this been here?" Hyun checked the files. Construction started 170 years ago, shortly after humans joined the Galactic Council. The room fell silent. 170 years, almost since the beginning. While humanity presented itself as peaceful traders and diplomats to the galaxy, they had been building secret military bases. "There's more," Hyun continued. "These files reference something called the Accord. It appears to be some kind of agreement, a pact made by Earth's governments when they joined the Council." He pulled up a document. Everyone read it together. The Accord. "In recognition of humanity's violent history and the lessons learned from our devastating wars, we hereby commit to 2 paths simultaneously. To the galaxy we will show our better nature, peaceful, creative, and cooperative. But in secret we will maintain our capacity for defense. We will never again be unprepared for existential threats. We will be both the hand extended in friendship and the fist ready to protect. This secret will be kept by those who volunteer to bear this burden, so that the majority of humanity may live in true peace." Jiwon's hands trembled as she finished reading. They lied. For 200 years they lied to the entire galaxy. "Not just the galaxy," Taemin said. "They lied to us. To most humans. I never knew this existed." "Did you, Hyun?" Hyun shook his head. "No, I was a civilian ship captain before joining the Council fleet. I had no idea." "Someone knew," Kilnoth said. "Someone has been maintaining these facilities. Building ships, training soldiers. Where are they?" They continued exploring. The facility was vast. Barracks that could house thousands. Training rooms with advanced combat simulators. Weapon storage filled with equipment Taemin had never seen before. And at the deepest level they found something that made everyone stop. A shuttle bay. Empty now, but the launch schedules were still displayed. Thousands of launches, all within the last 3 months. All heading to one destination, Earth's moon. "The moon," Jiwon whispered. "Why the moon?" They returned to the fleet and shared their findings. Every ship sent teams to investigate the other colonies. Every colony had the same hidden facilities. Every moon, every station, every human settlement had a secret military presence beneath the civilian surface, and all of them had evacuated their people to the moon. The fleet approached Earth. The planet looked normal from space, blue and green and beautiful. But the moon was different. Massive structures covered its surface, shipyards, construction facilities, docking bays, and ships. Hundreds of ships. The same dark, angular warships they had seen passing Apex Prime. "This is impossible," Kilnoth said. "You cannot hide construction of this scale. We have satellites. We have scouts. How did no one see this?" "The moon's far side," Hyun said. "Always facing away from Earth. Always in shadow from our perspective. And if they controlled all the satellites in the system, they could hide the construction from external observers." A transmission came through. Video this time. A woman appeared on screen. Middle-aged, wearing a military uniform Taemin didn't recognize. Her expression was calm but serious. "I am Admiral Sora, commander of Earth's defense fleet. Welcome to Sol System Council ships. I apologize for the confusion our silence has caused. I imagine you have many questions." "Admiral Sora," Kilnoth said, "we demand an explanation. These military facilities, these ships, this violates Council agreements. Humanity declared minimal military capability when joining the Council." "We did not violate any agreement," Sora said. "We declared our official military capability accurately. What we did not declare was our unofficial capability. There is a difference." "You call this a difference?" Kilnoth's mandibles clicked angrily. "You call hiding billions of people and hundreds of warships a difference?" "I call it survival," Sora said. Her voice remained calm but firm. 50 years ago, our deep space sensors detected something at the edge of the galaxy. Something consuming everything in its path. We call them the Devourers. They have destroyed 3 galaxies before ours. They are coming here, and when they arrive, they will try to consume every living thing in Council space. The bridge went silent. "You're lying," Kilnoth said. "The Council has deep space sensors. We would have detected this threat." "You didn't look far enough," Sora replied. "We built our sensors to look beyond Council space, beyond where anyone else was looking. We found the Devourers 50 years ago. We calculated their trajectory. They will reach Council space in approximately 2 months." "2 months?" Taemin spoke up. "If this is true, why didn't you warn us?" Sora's expression softened slightly. "Because we needed time to prepare. If we had announced this threat 50 years ago, what would have happened? Panic, chaos, possibly civil war as species fought over resources to build defenses. The Council would have torn itself apart arguing about how to respond. So we made a choice. We would prepare in secret. We would bear the burden alone, and when the time came, we would be ready to defend everyone." "You had no right," Kilnoth said. "We had every right," Sora replied. "The right of survival. The right to protect our families and our friends, human and alien alike. You wanted humanity to be peaceful. We were peaceful. You wanted us to be gentle. We were gentle. But you forgot that peace and gentleness are choices, not weaknesses, and we never forgot what we're capable of when survival demands it." The Council fleet landed on Earth by Admiral Sora's invitation. Taemin stepped off the shuttle and onto his home planet for the first time in 3 years. Everything looked different now. The city still stood, beautiful and bustling with activity. But now he saw what he had missed before. The park in the city center wasn't just a park. Disguised weapons emplacements ringed its edges. The transportation hub wasn't just for civilian traffic. Military vehicles moved beneath the surface. The beautiful apartment buildings had reinforced structures capable of withstanding orbital bombardment. Earth had been a fortress the entire time, hiding in plain sight. Admiral Sora met them at the landing pad. She was shorter than Taemin expected, but she carried herself with absolute authority. Behind her stood a man with scars across his face and arms. His uniform identified him as General Jinwoo. "Commander Taemin," Sora said, extending her hand. "I knew your parents. Good people. They served with distinction." Taemin didn't take her hand. "Served? My parents were scientists. They studied climate patterns." "Yes," Sora said. "They did study climate patterns. That was their real job, and they did it well. But they also trained for 20 years in tactical analysis and strategic planning. Like many humans, they lived 2 lives, one in the light, one in shadow." The words hit Taemin like a physical blow. "You're saying my parents were soldiers?" I'm saying your parents were complete human beings, Sora replied. They were scientists and soldiers, artists and warriors, parents and protectors. That's what humanity became. Whole, not choosing between peace and strength, but embracing both. Jiwan spoke up. My father. Was he part of this? Sora's expression softened. Ambassador Jiwan. Your father was one of the few who truly were what they appeared to be. A diplomat. A peacemaker. He knew nothing of the military side. We needed people like him, genuinely peaceful, genuinely kind, to represent us to the galaxy. His authenticity was his greatest strength. Tears formed in Jiwan's eyes. Is he alive? Yes, he's in the evacuation shelters beneath the city. Safe. I'll take you to him if you wish. First, we need answers, Kilnoth interrupted. Show us these devourers. Prove they exist, Sora nodded. She led them into a command center built beneath the old United Nations building. The walls were covered with screens showing star maps, fleet positions, and sensor data. At the center stood a massive holographic display. This is what we detected 50 years ago, Sora said. She activated the display. The hologram showed the galaxy from above. A red mass moved along its edge, consuming everything it touched. Stars went dark. Systems vanished. The red mass grew larger with each passing year. The devourers, Sora explained. We don't know what they are exactly. Organic ships? A hive mind, maybe a single consciousness spread across billions of bodies. They consume all biological matter and use it to create more of themselves. They've destroyed 3 galaxies that we know of. Ours is next. How many are there? Kilnoth asked. Millions of ships, possibly billions. Our sensors can't count them all. The swarm is too dense. The holographic display zoomed in, showing the devourers in detail. They looked like organic vessels, all curves and armor plates that seemed grown rather than built. They moved in perfect coordination like cells in a single organism. Why didn't our sensors detect them? Kilnoth demanded. Because they move slowly, General Jinwu said. His voice was rough, scarred like his face. They don't need to rush. They've consumed 3 galaxies. Time means nothing to them. They travel at sublight speeds between galaxies. That's why our long-range sensors found them before yours. We built sensors specifically designed to look for threats from outside the galaxy. You built sensors to monitor inside the galaxy. We've been preparing for 50 years, Sora continued. We evacuated our colonies to consolidate our population in defensible positions. We built ships. We trained soldiers. And we kept it secret because the galaxy needed peace more than it needed truth. A young soldier approached the group. He looked barely 20 years old. His uniform was pristine and he moved with trained precision. Admiral, the deployment is complete. All fleets in position. Thank you, Deho. Return to your unit. The young man saluted and left. Taman watched him go. How old is he? 22, Sora said. He's been training since he was 15. Like everyone in his generation. You train children to fight? Kilnoth's mandibles clicked in disapproval. We train everyone, Jinwu said. Every human learns both paths. Education and combat. Art and tactics. We don't force anyone to fight. But everyone learns how just in case. Because we remembered what happened when we were unprepared in our past. We will never be unprepared again. Sora pulled up another display. This is our current deployment. 300,000 warships. 2 billion trained soldiers. Every human above the age of 15 has basic combat training. Every human above 20 has advanced specialization. We are ready. 300,000 ships. Kilnoth stared at the numbers. The entire council fleet combined has 50,000 ships. We know, Sora said. That's why we prepared in secret. If the council knew humanity had this much military power, you would have feared us, possibly attacked us preemptively. We couldn't risk that. We needed the galaxy to trust us so that when this moment came, you would let us protect you rather than fight us. Taman felt dizzy. Everything he thought he knew about his species was wrong. How did you hide this? Not just from aliens, but from us. From regular humans. I never knew any of this existed. We compartmentalized, Sora explained. 60% of humanity lives normal civilian lives. They paint, they write, they teach, they build, they love. They know nothing of the military side. They are genuinely peaceful. The other 40% rotate through military service. They serve for 10 years, then return to civilian life. While serving, they live in hidden facilities, work under false identities, and never speak of their service to civilians. My sister, Taman said suddenly. Minji, she's a scientist. A xenobiologist. Is she really what she appears to be? Sora checked a datapad. Dr. Minji, yes, she's a scientist. She's also a tactical medical officer. She served 8 years in the defense fleet before returning to civilian research. She's currently assigned to a hospital ship treating wounded from our skirmishes with Devourer scouts. I want to see her. You will. Soon. But first, there's something else you need to understand. Sora led them to another section of the command center. You asked how we could train for war while maintaining peace. The answer is balance. We learned from our mistakes. She pulled up historical files. Images of old Earth wars flashed across the screens. Cities burning, millions dead, nuclear explosions. We almost destroyed ourselves once, Sora said. Wars over resources, ideology, territory. We killed billions of our own kind. When it was over, we made a choice. Never again. But never again didn't mean becoming helpless. It meant becoming wise. We learned that peace requires strength, that gentleness requires confidence, that you can only afford to be kind when you're capable of being dangerous. So you became dangerous, Kilnoth said. We became complete, Jinwoo corrected. Humanity has always been both creative and destructive. The question was whether we could be both intentionally with purpose and control. We decided yes. We could write poetry and build weapons. We could paint masterpieces and train soldiers. We could love deeply and fight fiercely. The key was choice. Always choice, an alarm sounded. A technician called out. Admiral, our forward scouts are reporting contact. The Devourer advance fleet has entered the outer rim. Sora's expression hardened. Show me. The display changed. Thousands of red dots appeared at the edge of council space. They moved in a pattern, spreading out like a virus infecting healthy tissue. They're targeting the rim colonies. The technician reported. Multiple species. Millions of civilians. Deploy our forward fleet, Sora ordered. Initiate evacuation protocols for all rim colonies. Send the transport ships. Admiral, the council fleet can help, Kilnoth said. We may not have as many ships as you, but we can fight. Sora shook her head. Your ships aren't designed for this kind of combat. The Devourers overwhelm through numbers and adaptation. You would be destroyed in minutes. What we need from the council is to evacuate the civilians, get them away from the rim, bring them to the core worlds where they'll be safe. And your fleet? We'll hold the line. That's what we've been preparing for. On the displays, the human warships moved into position. They formed defensive lines around the rim colonies, creating barriers between the Devourers and the civilian populations. Taman watched as the red dots and blue dots met. The battle began. Human ships fought with precision and violence that shocked everyone watching. They moved in perfect coordination, striking hard and fast, then withdrawing before the Devourers could respond. When Devourer ships tried to slip past toward the colonies, human vessels intercepted them with brutal efficiency. Your ships are fast, Kilnoth observed. Speed and firepower, Jinwoo said. We designed them specifically for fighting the Devourers. We've been studying them for 50 years. We know their patterns, their weaknesses, their strategies. A transmission came through from one of the human battleships. Admiral, this is Captain Hyun. We've engaged the enemy at Sector 7. They're adapting to our tactics faster than anticipated. The war began in earnest 3 days after first contact. The Devourer advance fleet pushed deeper into council space, and humanity's hidden armada met them at every turn. Lieutenant Yoonji sat in the cockpit of her fighter, waiting for launch clearance. She was Captain Hyun's daughter, though few people knew it. In the military side of humanity, family connections meant nothing. Skills mattered. Training mattered. Results mattered. Blue Squadron, you are cleared for launch, the command center announced. Yoonji's fighter shot from the carrier bay into open space. Around her, 50 other fighters formed up in perfect formation. Ahead, the enemy waited. The Devourers looked wrong even from a distance. Their ships pulsed with organic movement. They weren't machines piloted by creatures. They were creatures that happened to look like ships. Armor plates that seemed grown rather than built. Weapons that fired biological projectiles. Everything about them spoke of consumption and growth. All fighters engage at will, squadron leader called. Remember your training. Fast strikes. No heroics. We're not here to win glory. We're here to buy time for the evacuation ships. Yoonji's fighter screamed forward. She locked onto a Devourer vessel and fired. Her weapons tore through its armor. The creature ship writhed, leaked something that might have been blood and died. 2 more appeared immediately to take its place. They just keep coming, her wingman said. Then we just keep fighting, Yunji replied. The battle became a blur of movement and fire. Human fighters danced through space, striking and withdrawing, never staying in one place long enough for the devourers to overwhelm them. It was a strategy humanity had perfected over 50 years of preparation. Hit fast, hit hard, disappear. On the ground level of a rim colony, Specialist Minho worked frantically to evacuate the last civilians. He was a communications officer, not a soldier, but everyone fought now. Everyone helped. Please, this way, he called to a group of terrified aliens. The transport ships are this direction. Stay together, stay calm. An elderly member of one of the insectoid species clutched his arm. The monsters. I saw them on the screens. They're coming here. They won't reach you, Minho said firmly. Our fleet is holding them back. You're safe, but we need to move quickly. He guided the civilians toward the landing pads. Above them, human fighters screamed across the sky, engaging devourer scouts that had slipped through the defensive line. Explosions lit the horizon. The ground shook, a child started crying. Minho knelt beside the small creature, some species he didn't recognize. Hey, it's okay. You're brave, aren't you? I bet you're the bravest kid here. The child nodded, tears streaming down its face. I need brave people like you to help me. Can you help me get everyone to the ships? Can you be brave for them? The child nodded again. Minho took its hand and stood. The group continued moving. They reached the transport ship just as a devourer vessel broke through the atmosphere. The organic craft descended like a falling nightmare, its weapons charging. Get them aboard, Minho shouted, now. He pushed the civilians toward the ramp. They ran, some carried children. Others helped the elderly. They moved with the desperation of prey fleeing a predator. The devourer fired. The blast hit the ground 50 meters away, leaving a crater of consumed earth. Everything organic in the impact zone simply vanished, absorbed into the devourer's biomass. 2 human fighters appeared from nowhere. They engaged the devourer, weapons blazing. The creature ship turned to face this new threat, giving the civilians precious seconds to board. Minho was the last one up the ramp. Everyone's aboard. Get us out of here. The transport lifted off. Through the viewport, Minho watched the fighters continue their dance of death with the devourer. One fighter took a hit and went down, crashing into the colony below. The pilot didn't eject. There was no time. The transport jumped to faster-than-light travel, safe, for now. In space, the battle continued. Captain Hyun commanded his battleship with calm precision. He had fought in simulations for 20 years, preparing for this moment. But simulations didn't capture the reality, the fear, the cost. Admiral Sora is requesting casualty reports, his communications officer said. Hyun checked his displays. We've lost 17 ships in the past hour. 300 fighters. 8,000 personnel. Enemy casualties estimated at 50,000 vessels, but they're reinforcing faster than we're destroying them. The communications officer relayed the information. A moment later, Sora's face appeared on screen. Captain Hyun, we need to discuss your sector's situation. We're holding, Admiral. Barely. The devourers are adapting to our tactics, Sora said. Each engagement they learn, they're adjusting their formations to counter our hit-and-run strategy. I've noticed. Recommendations? We're developing new tactical approaches. For now, continue holding the line. The evacuation is 70% complete. We need 12 more hours. We'll give you 12 hours, Admiral. The transmission ended. Hyun turned to his crew. You heard her? 12 hours. Then we can fall back to the secondary defensive line. His crew nodded. They were tired. They had been fighting for 3 days with minimal rest. But they were trained for this. Every human in the fleet had prepared for exactly this scenario. A junior officer approached. Captain, we're receiving distress calls from a civilian convoy. They're stranded between our lines and the enemy. Medical ships. No weapons. Thousands of patients aboard. Hyun checked the tactical display. The convoy was in a bad position. Reaching them would require exposing his battleship to concentrated enemy fire. The risk was high. Alter course. We're going to get them. Sir, we'll be vulnerable. Then we'll be vulnerable. Those are civilians. We don't leave them behind. The battleship changed course, moving toward the stranded convoy. Devourer vessels immediately sensed the opportunity and converged. Back on Earth, Taemin and Jiwon worked in the command center, coordinating evacuations. They had been at it for days, sleeping in shifts, barely eating. The scale of the operation was staggering. Billions of civilians from dozens of species all fleeing the advancing devourers. "We need more transport ships in Sector 12, Jiwan said, studying the displays. 3 colonies still haven't been evacuated. All available transports are deployed, Taman replied. We'll have to wait for the ships from Sector 8 to finish and redeploy. That will take 6 hours. The devourers will reach Sector 12 in 4. Taman ran his hands through his hair. Then we need to slow down the devourers. He opened a channel to Admiral Sora. Admiral, we have a problem. Sora listened to his explanation. Her expression remained calm, but Taman saw the stress in her eyes. She was making impossible decisions every hour, choosing which colonies to save, which battles to fight, which lives to risk. Deploy the reserve fleet, Sora ordered. By Sector 12, 6 hours. Admiral, that's our strategic reserve. If we commit them now or we lose 3 billion civilians. Make the call. Taman made the call. The reserve fleet launched from hidden bases throughout the inner systems, thousands of ships that had been held back for emergencies. They rushed toward Sector 12. General Jinwoo entered the command center. His scarred face looked even more weathered than before. Admiral, we need to talk about Protocol Omega. Sora gestured for him to speak privately. They moved to a corner of the room. Taman watched them argue quietly, though he couldn't hear the words. Finally, Sora shook her head firmly. Jinwoo's shoulders slumped. Whatever Protocol Omega was, Sora still refused to authorize it. Jiwan noticed Taman watching. What do you think it is? Protocol Omega? I don't know, but I think it scares even them. On the battle lines, Lieutenant Yunji and her squadron returned to the carrier for refueling and rearming. She had been flying for 16 hours straight. Her hands shook from exhaustion. 2 of her squadron hadn't returned. In the ready room, she saw Diho, the young soldier she recognized from the command center. He was prepping for deployment with a ground assault unit. You're going down to the surface? She asked. Some colonies can't evacuate in time, Diho said. We're going to hold defensive positions on the ground. Buy time for the civilians to get to the ships. Well, that's suicide. Maybe. But those people need time. Someone has to give it to them. He smiled slightly. Besides, I'm trained for this. We all are. Yunji wanted to argue, but she knew he was right. This was what they had all prepared for. This was why humanity had trained in secret for 50 years. Not for glory or conquest, but for moments like this. When someone had to stand between the innocent and the monster. When someone had to choose to risk everything. Fight well, she said. Fly well, he replied. They went their separate ways. Yunji back to her fighter. Diho to the dropships. Captain Hyun's battleship reached the medical convoy. His crew worked quickly to establish a protective formation around the vulnerable ships. All medical vessels, this is Captain Hyun. We're your escort. Stay in formation and prepare for faster-than-light jump. Thank you, Captain, one of the medical ship commanders replied. You didn't have to risk yourselves for us. Yes, we did, Hyun said simply. The devourers arrived. Dozens of them. They saw the battleship and the convoy and they moved to attack. Hyun's crew fought with everything they had. Weapons fired continuously. Shields strained under the assault. Hull plating melted under biological weapons fire, but they held position. The main Devourer fleet reached the outer rim of Council space exactly 36 hours later. The swarm blotted out the stars. Billions of organic vessels moving as one consciousness driven by a single purpose. Consume everything. Admiral Sora stood in Earth's command center, watching the displays. Around her, exhausted officers coordinated humanity's defense. They had been fighting for a week straight. No rest, no breaks. Just endless battle against an enemy that never tired, never hesitated, never stopped. All fleets report ready, Admiral, General Jinwoo said. Every ship we have is in position. And the Council species? Most of their fleets are evacuating civilians deeper into the galaxy. But some have chosen to stay and fight. Jinwoo paused. Counselor Kilnoth's species sent their entire military fleet. They're taking position alongside our ships. Sora nodded slowly. Despite everything, despite the deception and the mistrust, some of the alien species had chosen to stand with humanity. It was something. What about the civilians? Are they safe? 98% evacuated. 2% still in transit. They'll be behind our defensive lines in 6 hours. 6 hours. They just needed to hold for 6 hours. Then the civilians would be safe and humanity could fully commit to the battle without worrying about collateral damage. Taemin approached Sora. He looked exhausted, but his eyes were clear. "Admiral, I want to volunteer for combat duty." "You're a diplomat, Commander." "Not a soldier. I'm a human," Taemin said, "and right now every human needs to do their part. I've been trained. Like everyone else, I know how to fight. I want to help." Sora studied him for a moment. Then she nodded. "Report to Captain Hyun's ship." He requested additional crew to replace casualties. Taemin saluted and left. Jiwon watched him go, then turned to Sora. "I want to help too." "You're helping. Coordinating evacuations saved billions of lives. But now the evacuations are almost complete. What else can I do?" Sora considered. "Can you broadcast?" "Broadcast? The galaxy is watching this battle. They're terrified. They need to understand what's happening and why humanity is fighting. They need to hear from someone who isn't military, someone genuine. Can you do that?" Jiwon straightened. "Yes, I can do that. Then that's your mission. Tell them the truth. All of it. In space, the fleets met. Human warships formed defensive lines around the inner systems. Beside them, the alien vessels that had chosen to fight took their positions. It was a fraction of the Devourer numbers, but it was everything they had. Captain Hyun stood on his repaired bridge. His crew was different now. Many faces were new, replacements for those killed in earlier battles. Taemin stood at a tactical station, trying to remember his training from years ago. "All ships, this is Admiral Sora. The enemy is approaching. Our mission is simple: hold the line. Every minute we fight is another minute for civilians to reach safety. Every devourer we destroy is one that won't reach the inner worlds. We are humanity's shield. We are the galaxy's defenders, and today we show them what we're made of." The devourers came like a wave of nightmares. They filled the space, blocking out starlight. Their weapons charged with organic fire. "All batteries engage," Hyun ordered. The human fleet opened fire. Weapons blazed. Missiles launched. Energy beams tore through space. The devourers responded in kind. Ships on both sides exploded. Space became a storm of fire and debris. Lieutenant Yoonji flew her fighter through the chaos. Her squadron had been reduced to 12 ships from the original 50. She didn't think about the lost pilots. She couldn't afford to. She just kept flying, kept firing, kept fighting. A transmission came through her helmet. "Blue Squadron, we have devourers breaking through toward Earth. Intercept and engage." "Copy that." "Blue Squadron, form up on me." She banked hard, her fighter's engines screaming. Behind her, 11 other fighters followed. Ahead, a cluster of devourers pushed through the defensive line, heading toward humanity's homeworld. "Not today," Yoonji whispered. "Not our home." The fighters intercepted the devourers between Mars and Earth. The battle was vicious. Yoonji's weapons overheated from constant firing. Her shields failed. Hull integrity warnings flashed red. She kept fighting. One by one, her squadron fell. 10 ships, 8, 5, 3, just her and 2 others remaining. But they had stopped the devourers. Every enemy vessel was destroyed. "Blue Squadron, fall back for repairs," Command ordered. Yoonji's fighter limped back toward the carrier. She had done her job. Earth was still safe. For now. On the ground, Daeho and his unit defended a colony that couldn't evacuate in time. The civilians huddled in bunkers while soldiers held the perimeter. Devourer ground forces had landed. Horrific organic creatures that walked on multiple legs and consumed everything they touched. "Hold the line," Daeho shouted. He fired his weapon continuously. Beside him, soldiers died. He kept fighting. A civilian shelter took a hit. The entrance collapsed. People were trapped inside, including children. Daeho saw it happen. "I'm going to get them out," he called to his squad leader. "That's suicide. The devourers will overrun that position. Then hold them off until I'm clear." Daeho ran toward the collapsed shelter. He dug through rubble with his hands, ignoring the pain. Behind him, his squad fought desperately to keep the devourers back. He found the entrance. Civilians were alive inside, scared but unharmed. "Come on, this way." He guided them out one by one. An elderly alien, a parent carrying 2 children. More children. They ran toward the defensive line while Daeho covered them. A devourer creature burst through the defense. It charged straight at Daeho and the fleeing civilians. He had 2 choices: run and let the creature kill the civilians, or stand and fight knowing he would die. Daeho chose to stand. He fired his weapon until it overheated. Then he drew his combat knife and charged. The creature was 3 times his size. It didn't matter. He was human. He knew how to fight impossible odds. His squad leader watched from the defensive line as Daiho fought the creature hand to hand. It was brutal, vicious. The creature's claws tore through Daiho's armor, but he didn't stop. He drove his knife into weak points again and again until the creature collapsed. The civilians reached safety. Daiho fell to his knees, bleeding. Medics rushed to him. "The civilians?" he asked. "Safe, all of them. Because of you." Daiho smiled and lost consciousness. In Earth's command center, Specialist Minho worked at his communication station. He was monitoring all channels, listening to terrified messages from across the galaxy. People didn't know if they would survive. Didn't know if humanity could win. He had an idea. A crazy idea. But maybe crazy was what they needed. Admiral Sora, permission to try something unconventional? Explain. The Devourers are a hive mind, right? They're connected. They share information instantly. What if we use that against them? How? We broadcast directly into their network. Not military communications, not tactical data. Humanity's culture, music, art, stories, love, everything that makes us alive. Concepts they can't understand. It might confuse them, disrupt their coordination. Sora stared at him. That's insane. Yes, Admiral, do it. Minho worked frantically. He gathered every piece of human culture he could access. Music from every era. Paintings, poetry, videos of children playing, families embracing, people laughing. He compiled it into a massive data stream and prepared to broadcast it directly into the Devourer network. Ready, Admiral. Transmit. The broadcast went out. Into the Devourer hive mind, into their shared consciousness flooded thousands of hours of humanity's soul. The things that made humans human. Joy and sorrow, love and loss, creation and beauty. The Devourer's formation wavered. Their attacks became uncoordinated. Ships stopped responding to the collective will. The hive mind couldn't process what it was receiving. These weren't tactical data or survival information. These were emotions, feelings, abstract concepts of meaning and purpose it couldn't understand. And that confusion created gaps in their coordination. "It's working," General Jinwoo shouted. "Their formation is breaking up. All ships exploit the opening," Sora ordered. "Press the attack!" The human fleet surged forward. The alien ships fighting alongside them followed. Together they drove into the confused Devourer swarm. But the Devourers were learning. They began filtering the broadcast, adapting to the confusion. Their coordination started returning. "They're adapting," Minho reported. "The broadcast won't work much longer." Sora made a decision. "General Jinwoo, authorize Protocol Omega." The command center went silent. Everyone turned to stare at her. "Admiral," Jinwoo said carefully, "are you certain?" "No, but we're out of options. We either use it now or we lose Earth." Jinwoo nodded slowly. He opened a secured channel. "All Omega units, this is General Jinwoo. Authorization code Humanity Endures. Execute Protocol Omega." Taemin, still on Captain Hyun's ship, saw something strange happen. Ships began appearing throughout the battle space, not from the fleet. These were different, smaller, just a few dozen of them. "What are those?" he asked. Hyun's face was grim. "Protocol Omega, humanity's last resort." The small ships moved into the densest parts of the Devourer swarm. Then they exploded. But these weren't normal explosions. The blasts spread like waves, and everywhere they touched, Devourer ships simply ceased functioning. Their organic nature turned against them as the weapon disrupted biological processes at a molecular level. Thousands of Devourer vessels went dark,